My name's Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Just the other day, I put out a video regarding Lauren McGaughy. Lauren McGaughy, who is an investigative reporter, so she says, for the Dallas News. Lauren McGaughy, who to the best of my knowledge lives in Austin, but decided to come up last week to a GOP debate, a relatively minor GOP debate in Dallas. And it was really surprising to me that when, not only did I meet her there, but there was also a camera that I believe was from some news company. Don't know which one it was. And then there was another guy there with a camera and a lens that was about a foot and a half. And I believe that he got some of the pictures that were published in the Dallas News on Brad Namdar. Now, the reason I'm talking about this right now is because Lauren McGaughy is not some type of impartial reporter. In my opinion, she is a trans LGBTQ activist, hack journalist, but she did write a very good smear campaign, a very good smear piece against Brad Namdar. As a result of Lauren's article, there has been some criminal activity that has taken place. It is my opinion that Lauren McGaughy should be investigated to find out what role she had to play in this criminal activity. First off, with this hit piece that I believe was fake, Lauren supposedly cites all of these unnamed people, and there are holes all over her stories, but that's what she's going to do. She's going to write a fake journalist piece, at least that's the way that I see it, regarding Brad Namdar, because Brad Namdar was actually leading in a one-to-one hit runoff against Colin Allred. And this is something that Colin Allred has done in the past, at least his campaign has. I've seen it personally, furious with what they did. Colin Allred would not speak to me. Colin Allred ran from me. Colin Allred had his blockers make sure that whenever I tried to speak to him, they'd cut in front of me. They did all sorts of various things. Anyway, but that's the Colin Allred dirty campaign trick. I would not be surprised to find out that perhaps Lauren was actually hired by the Colin Allred campaign. But apart from the political part, criminal activity has now taken place. Just had a gust of wind here. Unfortunately, was able to grab the camera before it hit the ground. But as I said, apart from the political stuff, criminal activity has now taken place. And I think a lot of this blame should go directly upon the shoulders of Lauren McGaughy. Lauren McGaughy, who is an LGBTQ activist, she is a very left-wing, progressive Democrat. I'm sure she would say Democrat anyway, probably more so like partial socialist communist. But she is out there and she is doing anything that she can to help advance the LGBTQ agenda. Remember, with the left, for them, it's all about the raw assertion of power. Anyway, so I did go down to Brad's place today and I saw what has taken place. Brad and his wife live in a place where they had their cars parked behind locked gates. A day after Lauren McGaughy's article came out, Brad Namdar's truck was broken into, the only truck that was broken into, and amazingly, there's glass all over the place. They stole some stuff. They stole his gun, they stole some clothing, and they stole some documents, and I believe a GPS tracker. So that's what they stole. They left some other stuff in place. But let me tell you what I think could very easily happen, because this so-called hit piece with this unnamed prostitute, I should say professional escort, the so-called professional escort who everybody knows is a prostitute, unnamed because she's afraid to name her name because of fear of retaliation, and her boyfriend, by the way, is also afraid to name his name because of fear of retaliation. And I'm just wondering if her boyfriend is really her boyfriend or if her boyfriend is her pimp. I don't know. If I were in a relationship with somebody, I wouldn't want her selling herself for sex to somebody else. That's just me. Maybe this is the new generation that I just don't quite understand. But anyway, the boyfriend or pimp or whatever he is also does not want to disclose his name for fear of retaliation. But what happened is that because of this hit piece, this story that was put out, Mr. Namdar's truck was broken into, stuff was stolen, and what I believe that part of the intent could be, they stole a gun, they stole some clothing. I could very easily see this clothing appearing in the next article with a next unnamed so-called prostitute / escort who says, yes, he did the same thing to me, and here's his shirt. Or I could see somebody say, well, I found this gun, he was over here, and it was registered, and it's, lo and behold, it's registered to Mr. Namdar. They stole it. They broke into his truck and they stole it. Mr. Namdar called the police. The police never came down in person to investigate. I think this is a shame. Mr. Namdar is a public figure. He's running for public office. police should look into this, in my opinion. If you have a person who's running for public office, there should be some type of protections afforded to them, so that if they say that their lives are being threatened or something's happening, police should be there. The Dallas police never went. They took a report over the phone. And then tonight, when Mr. Namdar was speaking in a different place, his wife's car was taken out from behind the locked area and moved to a place where it's no longer in a locked area. How they got into it, I don't know what happened there. She had her keys with her. I don't know how they did this, but they moved her car from inside a locked area to outside, and I believe they wanted to get the car towed away. Now, when you have this type of thuggery taking place, and make no mistake about it, this is Democratic thuggery. These are the LGBTQ mafia techniques. These things happen a lot. But of course, you know, they have an agenda. They've got their people that are rightly placed in their positions of reporting and stuff like that, so that all of a sudden they're just peaceful protesters. They just have a disagreement of opinion. These are thugs. These are thugs, and they are people that are trying to do anything that they can to put you in fear of your life or in fear of going forward with a campaign that might actually unseat Colin Allred. Whether Colin Allred is involved with this directly or not, I have no idea. Whether his campaign is directly involved with this or not, I have no idea. I have my suspicions. They're very strong suspicions based on past experience with the Colin Allred and his campaign. Could it be somebody else in a different area? I don't know. But anyway, this is something that should not stand. There should be a full investigation into these thug tactics. They are thug tactics. They are designed to make people live in fear. I talked with Mr. Namdar's wife, and she has not been able to eat all day. She just never expected anything like this. I've talked with Mr. Namdar. Mr. Namdar's holding up. When I was down there were people that were calling him to pray for him, just to say, we're going to pray for you. Maybe this work of Satan that Miss McGaughy appears to be involved in, perhaps leading up, perhaps volunteering for, I don't know. Maybe this work of Satan will come, it will be destructive in the end. I don't know. But this has been the card that they've played many, many times. They play the race card, they play the Me Too card, they play the domestic violence card, they play the solicitation of prostitution card with no witnesses, no evidence. The allegation makes you guilty. This is Lauren McGaughy, the so-called investigative journalist. She obviously is smart because she's using the same smear campaigns, smear tactics that the Democrats have used time and time and time again. And by the way, Lauren McGaughy is also reaching out to many people that have endorsed Brad Namdar for a comment. And I do have some of those emails and stuff like that as well. They have been forwarded to me. For those people who've done so, I want to thank you for that. Lauren McGaughy needs to be investigated. Lauren McGaughy is trying to use fear and intimidation against Mr. Namdar and his lovely wife. They've been married for less than 1 year, and this is the way that you treat another woman, you who supposedly are so concerned about women. It's always interesting how feminists really hate women as well as men. But I do believe once again that this needs to be exposed. By the way, Mr. Namdar will be on Mark Davis' show tomorrow at 9 o'clock. So I would encourage you, if you see this prior to that time, listen to Mark Davis. I'm going to try to call in. I'm going to try to speak to him directly. I've got some knowledge of what's taking place here. I don't have full knowledge, but I do have some knowledge. I met Miss McGaughy in person. I have her card, as I showed at this last video. Miss McGaughy, who had a micro expression like, oh crap, he realizes who I am. And then a micro expression frozen in time, just for a few moments, like, I can't believe you would think that I would not be anything but fair. Oh crap, he must know who I am. Anyway, again, I cannot prove this stuff. These are the thoughts that I had. There were a lot of strange things that took place last week at that Republican debate. It was a primary debate, Congressional District 32. It was a setup. It was a setup. These people that came in there, the Dallas News doesn't really care about this debate. The TV did not care about this debate. This was a setup. Plain and simple, it was a setup. And we'll see if it's going to be successful or not. I hope that actually and who knows? I mean, maybe it's because the traffickers that Mr. Namdar speaks against, and as opposed to, maybe they're organizing something. I don't know, but it most definitely seems planned, and I would not be surprised at all if if this all came about because of Lauren McGaughy's hit piece, smear piece, with really no basis in fact that I can see at this point. A lot of smears, a lot of allegations, but it's very, very light on fact. She was a lazy reporter too. She's asking everybody to do her work for her. I want your comment on this. I want your comment. Want my comment on what? My comment on your false allegation? Lauren McGaughy is a left-wing political hack, LGBTQ hacktivist. That's my opinion of her. Thank you.